Okay, so we couldn't shoot last week, right?
Yeah,
Because-
yeah. We had to skip a week.
Because I had to. Actually, Adrian, I didn't tell you this. So, I like maybe 2 years ago, I got a letter in the mail. And it
Oh, that's right.
said, and basically it said, hey, your car has a recall on it. You need to bring it in to the dealership. There are some problems, and I did not know what the problems were, and I thought, it's fine, it's fine. I'm not gonna stop now. 2 years later, I finally find that paper again. I go, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that, and then I opened it, and it was like a pop-up book. Like there was another thing you could unfold, and it was a list of all the problems that was with it. And I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, okay, so what's the problem? And it was like, okay, so sometimes like on my car model, the passenger seat just disconnects.
What do you mean this? Like,
you played Titanfall. You know when you eject from the Titan, just like that.
like it just like launches you out the car?
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
I always remember seeing the big panel in my roof and going, I wonder what that's for. It's the door for the ejector seat. No, but like
every time you unlock your car, it goes stand by for Titanfall.
but I'm like going to this list, and it's like, okay, so you might have faulty airbags. Like I'm reading through, I'm like, oh, my car. Like if I crash my car, like at least the passenger seat person might die. So I had to go bring it in. And
I've been in your car in the passenger seat in the past 2 years.
Do you know what to say? You know what? At the time, someone said, Jeremy, you should have been taking this more seriously. And my first thought was, well, these are only problems if I crash. So I don't need to worry about that, do I? Because I don't plan on crashing. I take it to the dealership. And my dad is driving his car alongside, so he can. And I get there, and the guy's like, so what's the problem? And I'm like, well, I just like a general service because it has like the little, not the check engine light, but the maintenance light. It's like you need an oil change basically. And on top of that, they say, is there anything else? And I say, oh yeah, my car doesn't have any brakes. Totally forgetting that it was airbags. And the guy looks at me and goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have any brakes. Apparently there's a thing. He's like, how'd you get your car here? I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, if you don't have any brakes, how did you stop the car? And I go,
oh no, Dad's driving in a circle. He can't go under 55 miles per hour.
And I was just sitting there like, what's the problem here? It has no brakes. And he's like, no, you can't have no brakes. And I it's something that clicks in my head. I meant to say airbags. And he's like, dude, that makes so much more sense because I was literally wondering how you got on and off the freeway from this. Yeah. So I send it in. I had to skip out because I was there for way longer than I was expecting. They called up a few times like, hey, do you want like this added to your car? And I was just like unless it's a cool like spoiler in the back, I don't want it. Finally, I get my car back.
With a spoiler or without a spoiler?
Spoiler not included.
Oh, so there's a spoiler-free podcast.
I love that you clearly set that up. Like you were just
you're the fucking worst, Tyler.
I have a joke for you later if you think I'm the worst.
Oh man, no, I can't wait.
And I get my car back, and I this might be the most pedantic because the reason why I brought this up. I was eating a bag of chips earlier, and everyone was complaining that my mic was full of crinkliness.
It was.
And I will tell you, that is by no means how fucking crinkly my handbrake is now. I don't know what they did to my... I don't know what they fucking did to my... But
so
now
when you touch your handbrake, you're just like...
Yeah. And I literally, as soon as I sat in the car, I was just like, all right, everything seems to be good. Cool. And...
I feel like you should call the mechanic and be like,
but
pardon me, sir, did you drop a bag of Lay's potato chips in there?
It's clearly like how they reset up the fabric that goes around it.
Yeah, they replaced the fabric with a sunship bag.
Oh, yeah. So I was just driving home, and I'm just like I'm literally pressing down on the button, like while I'm driving on the freeway, not yanking it obviously, because I like having like my axles attached to the car.
Oh yeah, because you have brakes.
Now. And I'm just like, why the fuck are you so crinkly? So that is the hell I live in right now, of the crinkliest fucking car. Everywhere, every time I stop, I'm like, that was an alright drive. Crinkle. I'm not a fan.
I love that your car is crunchy now. So Adrian, I came up with this joke right off the fucking dome piece.
Oh, right. Okay.
What do you call a promiscuous woman who has a day job as an accountant?
God damn it, Jeremy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that in the mic?
What do you call a promiscuous woman who has a day job as an accountant?
What?
It's the thought that counts.
Ah, God, that's amazing.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cracking Open a Cryptid. I'm Tyler Shively.
I'm Jeremy Savage Tate.
I'm trying to decide if I should go for the berry punch.
Change your name in the last few weeks, did you?
I don't know much about Mexican naming conventions, but
Oh, no,
that
yeah,
seems like a
our
weird
names are
one.
long. Our names are really long. I am Adrian Robles Castron Maras. Fuck, I forgot half of them.
That doesn't seem like a good thing.
No, like, actually, my name, like, I have, 10 surnames or whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I should go for the berry punch or the pineapple seltzer.
So I just got the one I cracked is a Truly's. I really don't like Truly's that much, but they released a a party mix punch series 2 weeks ago. Do the Truly's. It is surprisingly flavorful.
What makes it a party mix?
It comes in a box where literally the top just comes off first of all.
Oh, I see. So
as well as it's an assortment of flavors.
Got it. It literally is like
You bring
pop
it to a
this
party
bad-
and
yeah.
rip the top off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to save that one for,
For next
later.
time, huh?
Yeah.
Lift it.
Hang on.
Woo, that was a
That
good
was a
one.
good one. Hurt my ears a little bit. Those ones don't sizzle.
Yeah,
The
no,
Mike
the
Lemonades,
fizz.
they don't sizzle.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed with the fizz, or lack of fizz.
Oh, man. I forgot. Is this my episode or your episode?
It was yours.
Oh,
Yeah, we're talking about Sableye.
yes, kind of. So, much like in the last one I led, I want to read you guys a little bit of a story real quick. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's a warm night in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. The year is 1955, towards the end of August. An extended family consisting of 5 adults and 7 children are spending the night at their farmhouse. One of the children screams suddenly, pointing towards the window. The entire family turns their attention to the source of panic and all report the exact same thing. A small, dark gray creature with large pointed ears, claw-like hands, spindly limbs, and piercing yellow eyes was clutching onto the second-story window, peering inside. 2 of the men hurriedly grabbed their guns and shot at the creature, but somehow missed, allowing it to skitter away. They ran to the window, only to see 12 or so more similar creatures rushing their home. For the next 4 hours, the family barricaded themselves inside, blasting anything that moved outside. Eventually, the siege ended, with the creatures retreating into the tree line. A large, bright light soon made a streak across the night sky, and the family was safe. At daybreak, all 12 of them rushed to the local sheriff's office. That concluded the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, otherwise known as the Hopkinsville Goblins. We talking about a cryptid today that also might be an alien.
Is that so?
That's the whole episode.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, there it is.
So, what's the name of the family? Is there any information other than there was a
Yes.
family, there were goblins?
Yes, and I'll get into it, but that's the whole encounter with
So
them.
they just got attacked by a bunch of short. I was shown a photo by Adrian
Yes.
during that.
The artist
They
rendition.
looked like the Murlocs from World of Warcraft.
Oh my God, you're not joking. Yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
there's skinny Murlocs.
I don't know. Anytime I see it, I just think Sableye.
Sableye
It
is
is
based on
literally
Hopkinsville.
Sableye.
Sableye is based on them. Also, this is the event that, along with the Flatwoods Monster, was referenced in Majora's Mask. We talked about the Flatwoods Monster in the Rapid Fire Minor Cryptids episode, which is going to date this episode, but I believe that was the last one that went up at time of recording. But yeah,
Remind me which one that was?
that was the one in West Virginia that was definitely an owl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this farmhouse was actually not in Hopkinsville. It was right on the border of Hopkinsville and a town named Kelly, but it's usually placed in Hopkinsville just for story purposes. The town has a weirder name. It was a smaller town, and I guess they wanted press coverage.
Well, didn't you tell me that it was like a naming rights of
Essentially.
Yeah, they were just like no. It happened here.
Yeah, because the reports of where the goblins came from were on the Hopkinsville side. And so they're like, this is ours, baby. So the family consisted of a woman named Glennie Lankford, her young children named Lonnie, Charlton, and Mary, along with 2 older sons from a previous marriage. Those sons, why was that funny?
I don't know.
Who snorted at that? Which one of you was that?
Adrian.
Wasn't me.
Come on.
So her two older sons were Elmer and Jean Charlie Sutton, whose wives were also both present, named Vera and Aline, respectively. Aline's brother, whose name was O.P. Baker, as well as Billy Ray Taylor, were also there, along with Billy Ray Taylor's wife, June.
What was her last name?
Taylor.
Whew.
They're married.
Yeah.
Were they having like a party? Why is everyone here in this
Well,
one
so what
spot?
year
So-
was this?
This was in 1955, specifically August 20th.
You didn't move out of the house in 1955. Everybody knows that.
I mean, weren't houses going for like $20 a pop at that point?
So it was Glennie Langford who owned, I'm sorry, she didn't own the place. She was visiting because the owners were the Suttons. Her son was one of the Suttons, and both the Suttons and the Taylors were reportedly traveling carnival workers. So they let Glennie Langford and the children live at the farmhouse, even though the Suttons owned it, and so they came to visit, like all at the same time, basically, even though the Suttons owned the place. So, and that is so extraordinarily not important to the story, but I thought it was weird.
So is that it? Like what was the response?
Well, okay, after the event, the family went to the local sheriff's office early in the morning, right? And their testimony spread like wildfire, making national news coverage. The first articles that released told their story as written, but later on the articles took a bit of creative liberty, and the description of the creature started to change. And I thought this was kind of fascinating. This was likely the first event where aliens were being represented as little green men. Because the news started to leave that testimony and make up their own kind of thing, and that was little green men because it popped more on screen kind of thing. And so that was likely the first time this had ever been used, and it became a trope for like 50 years.
Did it stop in 2004?
No, it's not 2005, idiot. No, now because of the internet and widespread internet access, I think people know the grays more, and that's what you think of as an alien.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, because also I would associate little green men with Martians.
Yes. And I believe that's because of Toy Story, I think.
Probably. It's definitely not because that's really what Martians look like.
No, we all know that Martians are shape-shifting monsters.
Is that the issue? Oh,
I thought they all looked like Christopher Lloyd. God damn it, I can't talk today.
Sure.
Did you ever watch that movie? My Favorite Martian?
no.
I used to listen to Your Favorite Martian when I was cringy in 13.
What's your favorite Martian?
You remember Ray William Johnson? That was his fake comedy band.
Oh,
He did like Equals 3. You guys remember that?
no.
Whatever happened
Did you
to
never
him?
watch Equals 3?
I don't know
I
who
think-
Ray William Johnson is
Well,
besides
he used
his
to
name.
be the #1 YouTuber.
Yeah,
Well,
I,
most
on the
subscribed
platform.
I'm sure that's true.
For like years and years.
I'm sure that's true. I literally could not tell you what he looked like.
Yeah, and Adrian, I think he just like quit. He was like, I'm done.
Okay.
And
I
then
get
like
it,
gave
yeah.
Equals 3 to a bunch of people that no one liked.
Oh.
I don't know if it's still going. But yeah, past the little green men thing, the family themselves all had roughly the same recollection of events. The creatures were roughly 2 to 4 feet tall, so pretty short. There were at least 12 to 15 creatures total. They could move silently, and some of the family claimed that they saw them floating through the trees. At one point, one of them was actually shot. Like they landed a shot on one of them, and they said it quote resembled bullets striking a metal bullet, or bullets striking a metal bucket. So it like tinged basically, yeah. Which is just kind of weird already.
They're hollow.
Like the moon.
No, like the Earth.
The moon is flat.
I was talking about buckets.
Oh,
Yeah.
buckets.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
like the moon.
Well, the moon rang like a bell, so it's hollow.
Which and the bucket. What did the bucket do?
The bucket was also hollow.
Oof, okay, yeah.
The problem was the bucket was flat. It might have just been sheet metal. We're not sure.
It could have been anything.
Could have even been the moon. No. So one of the goblins, another one that actually got shot, was near a fence.
I thought you were about to name that goblin. You were just like,
Me
one of the
too.
guy who got shot, Steve, and I was like, whoa, there's a lot more detail in this story than I
Strangely,
thought.
the goblin who sounded like a bucket, his name Beckett. You wouldn't believe it.
They called him Beckett the Bucket, you know? They're like, he's the one guy that if you shoot sounds like a bucket.
Yeah, I like that none of them actually
Yeah.
sound like it except for Beckett.
They're like, oh my god, who got shot? Like, who do you think?
So one of the goblins, Steve, was shot near one of the fences on the property where, quote, an odd luminous patch was left behind for some time. So
Bioluminescent butterfly.
you're not far. Now, more greenish lights could be seen in the forest where the fighting was concentrated because they were mostly firing towards the creatures into the forest, and they could see more luminous patches throughout the forest. Now, upon retreating, the goblins fled in what the one of the Suttons, I believe, described as a flying saucer, because they all fled into the trees, and suddenly there was a bright light that shot across the sky. And so they assumed it was a UFO taking off.
Was this, like, I feel like I asked this, but was that popular, flying saucers around this point?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
this is right when it started getting...
Isn't this right around when Roswell happened?
Yes.
I mean, it was the 50s.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
55. This is when alien stuff started popping off.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was this weird... I mentioned it on the show before. After World War II and realizing that like the atomic bomb existed, now there are these planes that can fly really fucking fast. Oh, and now there's Sputnik going up. People started looking towards the sky and being like, there's aliens up there for whatever reason. And this exploded throughout the 50s and 60s and 70s, slowed down a little bit, then picked up at the end of the 80s, 90s, slowed down a little bit, and picked up in like 2005 or so forward. There are these little lulls that happen, but it's been going up and up. And now... This is going to date this episode, but like, did you hear that the White House was basically just like, yeah, you remember those videos of UFOs? We don't fucking know what that is. That could be anything, baby.
And literally no one has really reacted to it. Like, I talked about this to my mom,
Yeah.
and she was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad you brought this up because I was like, I don't want to segment too far, but every time that gets brought up, I'm like, them not knowing what it is doesn't mean it's an alien.
No, it doesn't. But like, there's only three possibilities, right? One, they know what it is and they're lying to us.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they don't know what it is, but it's some other nation with technology similar to what we would say is like aliens. Or three, it's fucking aliens, baby. And they are all terrifying.
I don't.
oh yeah, I sent you that video.
Also, like, I remember seeing like there's that one video where it's like the triangles floating in the sky.
Yeah.
And some dude was like, okay, that's clearly just the bokeh on the camera. Because,
Yes.
And I was like, okay.
That one's not one of them that's in this report.
And then like it's just every fucking time I see a video and they're like, oh, look those aliens. I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, the majority of them are like easily disproven like that. Like it's just a plane. Like it's just the bokeh, because it's very easy to fake something like that.
Yes.
Or not even that. It's very like people who don't know don't realize that what they're capturing is very mundane. It's just what is being recorded that looks very strange.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't gonna...
Yeah. Well, what's crazy specifically is one of the videos that were released was a plane that had picked up on radar an object moving extremely fast right above the ocean, and it wasn't making any waves. So already that's like, what the fuck? The object submerged very quickly, and then seconds later, another radar picked up the same object 60 miles away.
How do they know it's the same object?
Because it looked exactly the same.
Right. But
So it's either the same object or there's two of them.
right.
But either way, that's fucking nuts. Regardless of it's aliens or just different technology or just something we don't know.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
The thing that always throws me off on these things is that people are like, oh, well, look how fast this thing's moving. Nothing we know can move that fast. I'm like, yeah, but think about the fact that, like, if it's moving that fast, it's not, like, triggering, like, a sonic boom or something like that. That's a little suspicious.
Yes.
Like, you can't, you can have the fucking best ship around. You're not, unless it's actively changing how the laws of physics work.
Well, and if you dive into alien lore, and again, I'm not saying those are aliens, but it's still weird. When you dive into alien lore, what they talk about is they actually are defying the laws of physics because they're creating their own gravitational field, essentially. But it's gravity out. It's essentially gravity making them fall forward permanently. So you can get basically infinite speed, and it won't break the sound barrier kind of thing. There won't be a sonic boom because you're not moving through the air. The air is being displaced, and you're not moving past it really fast. You're moving through gravity. It's because it defies the laws
Well,
of
that's
physics.
that's why like a lot of those alien videos that they're like, oh yeah, this might be it. If you look at the ships, they're not flying like parallel to the ground. They're flying like belly up.
Yes.
Kind of, because they're actually falling. Well, supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just the crazy, weird alien shit. Or not alien. Not UFO either. Now it's UAP.
Yeah.
Because the government has given up on being like, it's UFO. Now, hold on. That doesn't mean aliens. Because the moment they say UFO, everyone goes like, it's fucking aliens, bro.
What does UAP mean?
Unidentified or unknown aerial phenomena, I believe. It's the same thing, but they had to give it a different acronym because people were like, UFOs are aliens and you cannot tell me otherwise. They're like, fine, it's not a UFO, it's a UAP.
Well, it also, I feel
To which
like
people
that opens them up to not necessarily objects in the sky. Like, they're just like, there's like a weird thing, we don't know what that is.
Yeah, like it might not be an object, it might just be an optical illusion or something, yeah.
Like if they're shooting laser beams, you wouldn't point to the laser beam like that beam is an object.
No, you got me there.
That's a phenomenon.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got us there.
I mean,
Can't fight him on that. The thing shooting the laser, object. Laser, not an object.
Maybe. I
Who
don't know.
knows?
I don't know that much about.
What's the definition of an object?
I would assume something that has matter.
Yeah, that's actually what I would agree with too.
Like maybe that's wrong. Maybe light is an object, but I would not. If someone said, "Hey, look at this object," and they handed me a ball of light, I'd be like,
Yeah,
"That doesn't seem.
How are you doing
That's
that?
not. Come on." You know, like that common scenario that I'm always finding myself in. Like, hey, can you hold on to this ball of light for me?
As long as it's not a spork. So after the events of like them shooting at everything, right, and seeing like little green patches show up and like the streak of light through the sky, that whole thing. The next morning, the family was fucked up. So they had gone to the police to report all this. The police came out. It was 4 police officers, 5 state troopers, 3 sheriffs, and 4 local military police drove down to the farmhouse. So there's a platoon of men being like, we gotta check this shit out. Upon investigation, the police found absolutely nothing out of the ordinary.
Wait, so
they didn't even find a bullet in a bucket somewhere?
They did find that there was evidence of gunfire, but other than because they told them that they shot stuff, right? So that's not out of the ordinary because there's gunfire, there was evidence of gunfire, but nothing else really. The luminous patches were also absent from the search. So they went to all the places that they saw luminous patches, specifically the fence right there. There was nothing on the fence. So they're fucking confused, like, what the hell were you shooting at? But judging by the description of the creatures, along with the time and location of events, many experts believe that the Hopkinsville Goblins were not extraterrestrial, but instead avians.
What the fuck is up with the people in the 50s just seeing a bird and being like, never seen that before?
You know the best part? This was also supposedly a flock of great horned owls.
Jesus
Wait, what?
Christ.
Just like the Flatwoods monster was one just big great horned owl.
I
The
mean,
fuck does this bird look like? Because I feel like it went through
Yeah.
evolution in
It's
the
a
50s
really cool
to
bird.
looking like a regular bird.
But it doesn't look like the Hopkinsville Goblins, let me
It
tell you.
may have in the 50s. We don't know. Science isn't there yet.
Well, what's funny is even plenty of ufologists agree that the goblins share far too many similarities with the owls to not be the case. Even ufologists are like, no, this wasn't aliens. Here's a picture of a great horned
How
owl.
are you seeing?
Because
fair,
it's
cool
small,
looking owl.
cool bird,
yeah.
right? The piercing yellow eyes. They have the talons on their feet.
Show me one of those at night.
All right,
I mean-
yeah, figure that out.
Well, I figure out how to adjust
No.
my microphone as
so
loudly.
so if you shoot one of these birds, it's gonna sound like a bucket.
Well, they believe that they just shot a bucket.
See, okay, that's literally the first thing I thought of.
Like, did you literally just shoot a bucket?
Yeah.
Because they're on a farmhouse. You think there's not a metal fucking bucket somewhere?
I love the fact that it's like that's step 1 to owning a farmhouse.
Yeah,
getting a bucket.
Well, it's a farmhouse. Of course, there are buckets around. Now,
Why? Of course. Why not a wooden bucket?
Because why would you have a wooden bucket in 1955?
Holy shit, that does look like an alien.
Okay, that actually is fucking.
All right,
terrifying.
never mind. You know, yeah, that's there you go.
I'm with him on that one actually. Now, this part I found interesting. Those glowing green patches out in the woods and on the fence. Apparently, there's a form of fungus known as foxfire. It is very commonly found on decaying wood and is bioluminescent when struck. So they were literally just shooting mushrooms and they started glowing.
That's kind of what I figured.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
The bright streak seen in the sky by the family that they thought was the UFO, by the way.
That was just a plane flying overhead.
Even dumber. It's also debunked because apparently that night, across the way, a large group of onlookers gathered to drink and watch a meteor shower that was happening that night.
Huh.
And upon reports from the neighbors to the authorities, it is also somewhat likely that a majority of the family may have been partaking in alcoholic beverages that night because they may also have been watching the meteor shower. So basically, they got fucking drunk, they saw a bunch of owls that would have been in the area, shot a bucket and a bunch of mushrooms, and then went, "That's a spaceship, baby," pointing at the meteor shower that they got drunk to watch.
Yeah, I imagine sitting
It happens.
No, like it's incredibly believable.
You're just sitting there and you're like, what are we doing here? And you're like, we're fucking fighting some aliens. Oh, shit.
Now, what I think is probably the most important part is Project Blue Book. I've told you guys about this.
I remember hearing the voice, of you saying that.
Yeah.
Best way I could have phrased that sentence.
Absolutely.
But I don't remember what it is.
Project Blue Book was the United States Air Force basically got these two dudes to go around the country and investigate reports of UFOs.
Right. Yeah.
I was reading Edge of Reality is the book about the cases that they couldn't confirm.
Yeah.
But when they came to Hopkinsville Goblins case, they went, they investigated, they interviewed the family, and they left. And the only note about it in Project Blue Book was the Hopkinsville Goblins are a hoax. No further commentary.
Yeah.
And that is the story of the Hopkinsville Goblins. I thought there was a lot more to this, considering how much popular media has come out of it.
What is something that references this? Is a
Sableye, the Pokemon, is based on the Hopkinsville
Sure.
Goblins. This mixed with the Flatwoods Monster is in Majora's Mask. It started the Little Green Men thing. Technically speaking, if we were going to believe that these were not the world's spookiest owl, and instead were aliens, these would almost fit under the description of the short grays by description, but by action, this is not the MO of the short grays. They don't move in packs this big, basically. They would just abduct you. There's no way they would fucking land and get out of their ship. They would just fucking pick you up out of your bed. So it's so funny to me because even when I got to the end of this, it's like, oh yeah, even people who believe in aliens are like, that wasn't fucking aliens. This is just a bunch of fucking owls.
I mean, it does sound like the inspiration for one of my favorite short films.
Okay.
Which have you ever seen VHS 2?
No, I've seen
Local
58.
I saw VHS 1 and I was like, these main characters I'm not a huge fan of them. They gotta die.
No, they're dicks.
I've used VLC Media Player. Does that count?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I think it's weird, one, that some movies got made from the shorts of VHS, but I also think it's really weird for you to introduce your characters as like, yeah, they shark people on the side, and I'm like, yeah, that's not very cool.
They do what?
Oh, yeah, no, the main characters of VHS are not good people.
No, but what did you say?
Shark.
As in?
So sharking is where like let's say you're holding a video camera and you're following me. I would basically run up to like a woman or a group of women and basically pull their top off or something like that, so that you could get it on tape, and then like we'd run away.
That's might be a hot take. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
It's very weird for you to be like literally the first scene in that movie.
Like,
is,
let's make
is
these
them
the most
doing that.
unlikable character
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
Just punch your mic.
I mean,
if it makes
man.
I actually love the shorts. If it makes you feel any better, all of those guys die horribly by the
sick.
end. Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten that far in.
I thought this was a spoiler-free podcast, Adrian. What the fuck?
Fuck it.
I remember there's the weird fucking glasses short.
I'm sorry?
That's in VHS 2, I think.
Really?
The VHS 2 is the one where
Is this just like Black Mirror before Black Mirror?
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's a found footage movie where they find a bunch of VHSs of like other found footage.
Oh, that's really neat.
And
I like
so
that idea
they're
a
like
lot.
they're like going through like these different tapes, and they're all people like dying in weird supernatural ways.
Reminds me of that short film that we talked about filming while we were at a Denny's at 3 a.m.
yeah.
and
Yeah,
never showed.
I was literally just thinking about that one.
we should definitely do that.
No,
at some
that does
point.
sound like a good time.
No, but one of my favorite shorts from that, probably the scariest shit I've ever seen, as far as aliens is concerned, is there's a short that it's basically this case, where like it's family hanging out in like out in like the country and like they're
In
like
a farmhouse, you say?
exactly yes right next to a lake, and like
Right next to Kelly, Kansas, and Hopkinsville, Kansas.
I have no idea where it's at, but like
Set
they
in 1955.
but they strap a GoPro to a dog, to a Yorkie.
Not 1955.
No,
Yorkies didn't exist in 1955.
didn't they?
No, the joke is I mentioned the Yorkie didn't exist and not the GoPro.
You know,
Please continue.
No, yeah, but the short is like a Yorkie running around as the family is fighting off aliens, and they get picked off one by one.
Huh.
Which, if you haven't watched it, watch it. It is terrifying.
Yeah. Have you
Because-
seen Local 58?
Yes.
I think it's called Local 58, right?
Well, it's the series that's like, oh, what would actually happen if an aliens actually try to invade, right?
I mean, kind of. It's a YouTube channel, if you never heard of it. Jeremy, could you confirm it's Local 58 for me?
I'm looking up. Local 58 is a 2015 YouTube horror anthology web series.
Yes. So essentially what it is there one or two of them are like found footage thing that are a little spooky. But it's supposed to be a news broadcast in a small town. It's just a local news channel, but it's like weird and fucked up because it's supposed to be as if the news channel was taken over by aliens trying to like conscript people kind of thing. It's spooky. It's a little spooky. I like it a lot. If you haven't watched Local 58, I think it's a total of like maybe 30 minutes of view time. Check it out. It's fun.
It's really good.
Is it really that short?
Yeah, because
It's
all the
pretty
videos
short,
are like
yeah.
max 5 minutes, and there's only like 6 of them.
There's a film theory about that.
Yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's quite good. But I also watched that film theory, and then he was like, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And I went and watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's aliens. And I went back to the film theory. He's like, now you may not believe this, but it's about aliens. And I'm like, oh, we're doing this. That's it. That's the whole theory? All right.
So, like, this might have to be removed because I'm about to catch shade with Matt Pat. But every fucking time I see any of his videos, I'm like, who's your fucking audience? Like, is your audience people who like to speculate on nothing?
There's a couple that I think are neat. And I know he gets a lot of shit for, like, the Sans is Ness one. But it's like, I thought that one was fun.
Who's...
Sans from Undertale is Ness from Earthbound.
That's
No, but it was not meant to be serious. It was just like, be kind of neat.
see, I like Mike
No.
Pat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I like the guy.
But sometimes
Never met
he
him, but I like him. I have a
Uh.
parasocial relationship problem. What of it?
But
What's
some of
parasocial? You keep making that comment. What's parasocial relationship?
It's kind of a new thing on social media where they talk about. I mean, it's probably not new, but I just been hearing about it a lot more. It's essentially the idea of like, let's say you watch, like my favorite streamer who I watch all the time, Northern Lion. I can tell people about Northern Lion and stories he's told and relationships he's been in and life stories about him and where he grew up because I've watched the stream enough. And so it's like I can talk about him as if I actually know the guy. And so a parasocial relationship is when you don't recognize the fact that I do not know this person. Like you sit there and you're like, oh no, I know this guy. I'm friends. You act as if you actually are friends with this like content creator that you've never met and they don't know you exist. Which is why like stans exist as well.
Stalker fans for the uninitiated.
is that what that means?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
he taught me that as well.
I didn't know that. I thought it was a reference to Eminem's Stan.
It is, but it is because
M&Ms
that
are
popularized
a
it.
chocolate candy, Adrian.
You're thinking of Skittles.
You're right. I am thinking of Skittles.
Anyways, what were you going to say? Because
Right. I
need
like
to readjust my chair. Let me interrupt you again to talk
Go
about this
for it.
story. My chair is facing the wrong direction. I've just adjusted it. Now continue.
Okay. See, I like some of Matt Pat's content, but then sometimes he goes into like 5-episode series about something I
Don't care about.
I either don't care about or just do not like. He's literally like taking the longest road.
Yes, to get to like the conclusion that you could have put in the first episode.
Yes.
My issue is that oftentimes his videos are based on basically nothing.
Yes.
And like I was watching the episode literally hours ago where it was the Ass Crack Bandit
a community episode, yeah.
And at a certain point he was like, now you may think that there's nothing to go on, but if you really look close, I'm like, no, that was the end of that sentence right there. Like, there is nothing to go on at this point. You have ruled out as much as you can. There's no more information. Also, there's a point where he's like, look, the script said this person's the ass crack bandit, but maybe, and I'm like, nope.
Nope, the script said
Yeah,
it.
no,
That's
yeah.
it. You got your answer,
Yeah.
big guy. No, I had the same reaction. I also, what annoyed me, and I might be remembering this wrong, but he didn't answer it at the end. He was just like, yeah, it could have been anyone. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I also watched the episode, Matt.
Well, also, because I had been watching, I was reading something where in the episode before that, Jeff has a line where he says that he gave a quarter to a dirty bum this morning, and people are like, is that him? Is like, because that's a he's saying he gave money to a homeless person, but that it sounds like he literally cracked someone.
Oh, to a dirty bum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that's a fun thing to see, but also keep in mind, there is no answer because they did not tell you it. Do not look any farther than that.
Well,
Yes.
it's like somebody trying to figure out what's in the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. Like, it's literally meant.
But what's in the box?
You know what's really inside?
Depends on the movie.
That's true.
Why is there?
I mean, are we talking Seven? That's going to Paltrow's head. Spoiler. Are we talking Dune? That's
Spoiler-free podcast.
Are we talking
Adrian. What
Dune?
the fuck is wrong with you?
Don't tell me anything about Dune. I want to watch the movie and then learn later that none of that happened in the book.
Actually, I hear that it's going to be very accurate to the book.
Are there Mongolian death worms?
I hope so.
Okay,
They're called Mongolian death worms?
No, there's an actual cryptid called a Mongolian death worm,
Oh.
and it's basically the it's the J something. I think?
Jeremy.
Yeah, it's the Jeremy.
Yes,
from
the
Dune.
Jeremy. What are you talking about?
Isn't there a giant sandworm in
In
Dune?
Dune?
Well, yeah, that's the maker. Blessed be the maker.
Oh, that's the maker. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Guild Wars. They stole it from Doom and they named it like a Gerunda or something like that.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I.
Not a Jacaranda. That's a different thing.
You're thinking of a jackalope.
You're right. No, you're thinking of a gazelle.
I am thinking of gazelle. That's a
I
good
knew
point.
that.
So, you sent me a message and it basically said something along the lines of, "Hey, there may not be a huge amount of information."
Just gonna out me on the podcast.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna be super prepared. And I spent about 5 minutes looking this up.
Okay.
And I got really fucking bored. So instead, I had a new plan. I was like, oh man, goblins. You know, that reminds me of the movie Troll 2.
Oh, I love Troll
now
2.
that's a
And
movie.
so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about the movie Troll 2.
Honestly, I'm down for it. Troll 2 used to be my favorite movie of all time. I used to be able to quote Troll 2.
And now they're gonna eat me.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
As like a fly is like climbing up
really
the top of
gross.
his board. Yeah.
See, the thing, okay, so I think I've mentioned this before, probably not on the podcast, but I absolutely despise movies that are like made to look like they were shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was watching fucking Black Dynamite the other day, and I'm like, it's not really as funny when you're purposefully making this movie trash. Like, but Troll 2 was not them trying to make a trash movie.
They tried to make a good movie.
Yeah.
And didn't.
And my favorite part is anytime you read anything about it, you're like, honestly, it's fucking amazing that it is as good as it is. Like it could have been so much worse.
All things considered, sure.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you've never seen it, there's a documentary on it, actually.
The best worst movie?
The best worst movie.
Oh, that's what that's on?
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that.
I honestly I didn't know that when I started watching it. I thought it was just going to be like a top 100 list of movies that aren't very good. But I was like, wow, we're on Troll 2 for quite a while.
But if you haven't watched it, watch it. They go a little in depth of like the production. First off, the movie Troll 2, despite its name, is not a sequel to the movie Troll.
Yes, I do know about this. It was just some marketing exec was like, yeah, make it a sequel. Then people buy tickets regardless.
Yeah, see, the funny thing is that Troll wasn't like it
wasn't like a smash
I
hit.
have seen Troll, and to my memory, it's also I looked this up when I was doing my research on this episode.
I love that you're making us sit on the fact that you haven't finished the research for the Mandela Effect episode, but you're like, but I did research Troll 2.
I will not be held accountable for my own actions.
I just can't wait for the day we walk into the podcast like recording studio and you walk in with a stack of paper and you're like, All right, boys, buckle in.
Well, it's gonna be like a stack of sticky notes. I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna use them. We'll go off the cuff this one. The Troll 1 is apparently Julia Louis-Dreyfus' first ever movie.
Like acting in it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't remember her being in that movie. All I remember is that the main character's name is Harry Potter, and I was like,
Wait, what?
yeah, this predates the books. Like, it's not a yeah.
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
J.K. Rowling stole it. You
Yeah,
heard it here first.
she was
folks.
watching Troll and was just like,
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah.
See, I also watched Troll at a very young age. I don't remember anything except it took place in New York and had a troll in it.
Yeah.
That's two more things that I could have said about it.
Now, another thing about Troll 2, despite its name, there are 0 trolls in the entire movie.
That's why I brought this up.
Yeah, no, there's no trolls. They're goblins, right? Yeah.
In fact,
It's Nilbog is the town or something like that.
Yeah. He's like, oh my god, it's goblin spelled backwards. Like, this was called Troll 2.
Isn't there a part where the kid freezes time and then pisses all over dinner?
No,
then,
the dead grandpa freezes time.
Oh, right, and then but then the kid pisses all over dinner, and then and then the dad like takes off his belt and is about to beat the shit out of him. Is that correct?
No.
It's been a minute.
He takes off. He doesn't take it off. He tightens the belt, because of his hunger pains.
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have dinner for one night, and he's like, I'm gonna die.
You can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it. So, anyways, when I was looking this up, I read the IMDb trivia page. You can actually pull it up, and it literally every single one is a fucking banger of a. Just reading through that, you're like, how? How is this a movie? First one, all the actors were actually auditioning to be extras.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They did not even anticipate getting a leading role, but they did. That's why none of them had ever acted before. The entire production spoke Italian and did not speak English. And the only person that could speak English was the makeup artist, so she was basically translating between the two.
I feel like she should have been paid more.
Probably. I literally, I think, if anything, they should have been paid more just being in this movie.
What?
I've never seen this poster.
There's also
one was not enough, huh?
There's a
Also, Troll 2. There's 3 of them.
what is happening to that guy's face? In the clouds?
Everything about this is wrong.
The poster that they used for this movie shows a werewolf chasing down the kid holding a fire axe, and there is nothing similar to that in the movie. Like it is just a made up scene that they put on the poster.
Is that the thing that were they referencing that in Community when they think Abed can tell the future, and then he talks about how Shirley's gonna get chased by a werewolf, but it never happens?
Oh, that's the poster I know.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Now that I look at that, that might just be a goblin.
It absolutely is a goblin.
It looks a lot furrier.
Yeah.
That goblin's a furry.
It's a were-goblin.
A werblin?
Yeah.
Or a weregob? I would go with the weregob.
That's not the kid that's in the movie.
Oh, probably not, no.
Oh, no, you're right. What's he holding?
Oh, I thought that was a teddy bear.
What is it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, what is that?
What?
What is that?
He's holding like a Pokemon.
That is not a Pokemon.
That's like the worst thing about this.
It
what
literally
the fuck is
looks
that?
like they took Simba out of the shot of him holding him over the crowd, and they just
it
painted
looks like
him
they
red.
took Simba literally the moment the cub was born.
And hung him?
Yeah.
What is he grabbing?
Does it have like a shit ton of hair? Is it supposed to be a troll doll? Is that...
I have no idea. I always thought it was a teddy bear.
Yeah. I also want to point out the directors of this movie done a lot of work since.
Yeah,
like it's not even a thing of like, oh man, how
like the
long
career was ruined.
Yeah.
It was like
everyone else's career was ruined. But in fact, in that documentary, The Best Worst Movie, the actress who plays the older sister, I think, was the only one that like actually was like an actress. As everyone else was just some random Joe Schmo that showed up to an audition. And so she was saying like, yeah, I want to continue acting, but if anyone looks at my IMDb, they're going to see Troll 2. So she was like, yeah, I actually have it first on like my CV just to show, so I can be like, oh yeah, you might see Troll 2 there. Let me explain.
That's very funny. All right, I'll probably keep some of that, but then cut some for Instagram fodder. Just to be like, and if you want to hear more about Troll 2, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, you dumb fuck.
Tell me more about goblins.
About the Hopkinsville Goblins, you say?
Oh, yes. I was talking about Goblin 2. Before we continue, Troll 2 was going to have a sequel called Troll 2 Part 2.
I hate that so much.
I hate that it was never made.
That's like Final Fantasy 13 X2 The Reckoning. Like
no, it's the last one was
Lightning
called
Returns.
Lightning Returns.
That's
yeah,
what it is.
Is that the same character from Cars?
Yep, that's
They're
the
like
one.
he's back.
Yeah, but in Final Fantasy now it's a turn-based combat racing game.
They're like win the Piston Cup.
Yeah, and win the Piston Cup and win back the Eternia crystals.
I mean, in all honesty, you just have to press X. The game will play itself.
Yeah. Did you ever end up beating it?
No, I only got past the first stage. I got up to when they finally revealed the title.
The game will play itself.
You
Have
literally
you never
press
played
X.
Final
You
Fantasy
literally
13?
press X.
I don't know why every single time I say anything, the first response is, "Oh my God, you have not done this." Yeah, I don't know who Ray William Johnson is.
For the
I don't
record,
know what
Adrian,
Final Fantasy
for the record,
13
Adrian,
is.
Of course he hasn't played it. It's awful. If you press X, it literally auto battles.
Oh,
In fact, they encourage you to auto battle.
Yeah.
If you try to do it yourself, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah, and then it goes like, no, let us just do it for you.
so is it just ranking like my character stats versus another and assuming, or is it just
No.
making
No,
me win?
it even you have to sit there and watch the AI go through menus and shit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super fun.
Ideal.
The graphics were phenomenal at the time.
When did it come out?
2006, 2007.
Yeah.
That came out earlier than I thought it did.
Yeah, no, the graphics are great for the time.
I was expecting that to be like a 2010, 2012 banger.
No.
Not 2011. I want to
Yeah,
be clear.
2011 was when Dark Souls came out. And we all know graphics were shit.
2011 is when Dark Souls and Skyrim came out, so we can't fuck with that. That year's covered.
Is that 2011? Was
Yeah, that was 2011.
I know 2011 was Skyrim. I don't know about
Yeah.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls was also 2011.
Was it? I wasn't
That's
sure.
really interesting because Skyrim looks nothing like shit in comparison to Dark Souls. And it's just to think they came out the same year.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's a much harsher criticism than I think you intended it to be.
No.
That's funny because Skyrim doesn't look like shit.
No. I'll live by that.
No, Dark Souls looks like shit.
And
Even the remaster looks like shit.
Yeah, even like, you're playing Dark Souls 2 and people are like, oh, it doesn't look like Dark Souls 1. It's like, well, yeah, I know. I mean, it doesn't look great, but at least it doesn't look like absolute shit.
I think Dark Souls 3 looks nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So did Bloodborne.
Bloodborne looks great. I
Well,
love how Bloodborne looks.
The recent from Soft Games look great. Sekiro looks amazing.
Yeah, give me Bloodborne 2, by the way, from.
Oh no,
Like-
next is Elden Ring.
Yeah, but the thing
Which
is,
it's
the
basically
Elden
Dark
Ring
Souls.
is never going to come out. Ever.
Well, that's what they get for hiring George R. Martin to do it.
Nah, right?
No.
What did you say about Elden Ring?
That's supposed to be the next From game.
Well, I know, but you
that's-
said it's
that's-
going to be...
Well,
Oh, it's basically Dark Souls
it's
again?
basically Dark Souls 4.
Yeah.
Basically.
It doesn't take place in the same universe, but it's still...
I mean, it's a
Like
it's a
dirty fantasy.
it's a medieval fantasy setting with dragons.
Yeah, that is Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And typical from Soft
Right.
gameplay.
And I wear a ring.
Supposedly.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah. And it's the Elder Ring.
Yeah, and it makes you turn slightly translucent. Not invisible. That'd be copyright infringement. Just like slightly see-through.
Do you get what he's referencing?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Are you an idiot?
Is there... There's a ring in Lord of the Rings that makes you invisible?
I can't tell if he's fucking with me. I cannot tell if he's
No,
fucking with me.
you put the ring on and you become a ghost.
No!
Yeah, you put the ring on and then then there's
You put the ring on
spooky
and then you
world.
die?
No, there's a spooky world that comes around.
Yeah, because you're invisible.
No. That doesn't sound correct. Are you, I think you're thinking of The Hobbit. It's a similar movie, but
He's
it's not the
fucking
same.
with me, right? He has to be
I
fucking
think
with me.
so. I see no other explanation at this point.
What do you mean? The Lord of the Rings?
Do you mean Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, I see the issue. You're thinking of the ring, but what you're really talking about is the glasses that they're using to make campfires.
No, I was thinking about the conch. Remember when the asthmatic fat kid got rolled over by a boulder and everyone was like, there he goes?
Is that the reaction they have?
Kind of.
Oh,
Well, one of the people was like, that's fucked up. And everyone else is like, that's war, baby. And
Is
it's
that
like,
what
you're 11.
Is that what happens in Lord of the Flies?
I think
Yeah.
so. He gets hit by a big rock, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've
And then
never read it.
Fucking dies.
And you know what's even weirder is that, like, another kid... Oh, how the fuck does he die? He dies... Is it before or after? Because, like, there's basically 3 people who are not assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them are dead by the end of the book. One dude, I find, if memory serves, they just beat to death.
I think so. That sounds about
just
right.
like...
Do you ever think about... First of all, I think Lord of the Flies is, like, not a good book.
No, I 100% agree.
Okay, cool. But do you think about... Because I think about this. The one not asshole who survived versus everyone else who is a psychopath. When they eventually get rescued and, like, they go, like, to the boat or whatever, you know, there's, like, the small boat that comes first to bring you to the big boat.
Mhm.
Can you imagine sitting on that boat and it's being like, Mr. Marine, please keep them away from me. Like, just the one guy, and then everyone else is sitting there, fucking fat kid blood on their face, just spears like, oh, when we get to that boat.
Well, the thing is that like, if memory serves, is really loosely based on a lot of Freud stuff, and his
Oh, okay.
idea was like, basically everyone is capable of being just a fucking psychopath if they're removed from society, and so, like, that's the idea. And although, like, yeah, that's probably pretty realistically true. The book has some really fucking on the nose moments where it's like, yeah, you're not, like, you don't literally turn into an animal from it. Where there's a kid who, in the very beginning of the book, anytime someone asks him something, he's like, my name's, like, Steve Steverson, and I live at 12345 Lane, and
Wow, you just docked Steve Steverson.
I really did. Hold on, let me make a call to the police. I'll be like, hey, I hear a lot of screaming at 12345 Lane. Just like, send everyone. And at the end of the book, some dude's like, hey, who are you? And he's like, I don't remember. It's like, dude, it's been like fucking 3 weeks. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like that kid would get lost the fucking train. Like, going there would be like, oh man, I know where I live and my name's this. And they're like, all right, where do you need to go? We need to send you back in the correct train. He'd be like, oh, I have no fucking clue. He's like, it's been an hour.
I remember when I was in class and we were reading that book, we got to the part where I forget who finds, like, the pig head on a stick or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, they were talking to it and it was talking back to them. And I remember my teacher at the time being like, so what do you think happened here? And I was like, it's going fucking crazy. Like, clearly that's what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, you don't think that it was actually talking to him? And I was like, no, pigs can't talk when they're alive. And that one's dead.
The magical island of the Lord of the Flies. This is...
And I think one kid was like, I think it was the pilot from the ship that crashed who we already found dead. And it's like, what are you talking about? They're gone. They've gone crazy. You've gone crazy. I just remember sitting in class being like, because the teacher kept fighting for, like, no, like, they're actually talking to the pig head and the pig head is actually talking back, because, like, that it's mystical, and she was really pushing for that. And I was like, why do I understand this book better than a grown woman?
What was going on at your guys' school? Every
Dude.
time I hear you guys talk about it, it's like,
Okay, it should
like the teachers are insane.
First of all, I don't believe we went. Did we go to the same junior high?
Yes.
We did. Okay, because I think that was in junior high. When
I
I
definitely
read
I read Lord of the Fries, the McDonald's branded.
I was gonna make the same joke. I was gonna say, oh, you mean the employee training guide for McDonald's?
Where instead of Piggy getting, like, his head smashed in with a rock, they just pick up like a McRib.
And they teach you how to smash it down onto the grill. Yeah.
But I was reading that book like maybe sophomore year of high school. So if you read it earlier than me,
I feel like I remember reading it earlier and then hearing people in high school reading it and being like, really? But maybe not.
the thing is that sometimes, like, the way classes were structured is they were like, okay, here's like the advanced classes, and then we're gonna do all this, and then here's the
dumb
here's
bitch
the dumb bitch classes, and we're gonna do the exact same thing, but we're just offsetting it by a couple years, and
Yes,
at the
they
same
did
time
do that, and it was
adding
very
more
weird.
books, and it's like, those aren't different things
Yes,
though.
I remember that, and even thinking like, why am I in the honors classes?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get this.
I remember in 8th grade, everyone was supposed to read A Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Did you ever read that?
Yes, I did.
I had already read that book before it had come out, and I was so confused. This is what I call completely irrelevant to any point I'm about to make.
Well, this podcast has devolved. Now this is just a dudes talking podcast.
Yeah,
This episode.
Well, this is cracking open like a fun story for the pals.
This is just cracking open a cold one. That's all this one is.
Like I had already read that book, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we have to read it," and like they're talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, the way everyone kept describing it, like they kept reading it, like it was taking a long time." And I was like, I must have read an abridged version of that book because I read it over the course of like 2 days. Like it was not a very long book.
Yeah, I think they did give us an abridged version.
Okay,
I feel like I remember thinking that too.
You apparently that's just the length of the book. It's practically a novella.
Really?
Yeah, it's very very short. It's maybe like 200 pages, some of that.
All right. Because I do remember getting the book and like turning it on its side and being like, really now?
Yeah, and because I always thought maybe they cut some stuff out, but like, no, that's
because this podcast is nothing now.
Mm-hmm.
That just reminds me. You might remember in my senior year of high school, I was gone for half of it.
Yeah.
Yes, that is because I came down with strep throat twice in 6 months, and I am deathly allergic to penicillin.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not information I should put on the internet, but if you want to kill me, put some penicillin in my drink.
You can shoot him; it'll be easier. Like,
But penicillin might be a little more fun.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
You'll get to see me get mumps and choke to death.
We're just
on my own.
We're just
cheeks.
at the street, and someone just shanks you with a needle and runs away. We're like, oh, thank God, you only got hit by a needle. What was in it? You're like, oh.
But yeah, so I couldn't get over strep throat quickly because I basically had to take like experimental Z-Packs just to be like, Well, I remember the second time I had a Z-Pack that was essentially a horse tranquilizer, and I was asleep for 23 out of 24 hours of the day for a month and a half. I would wake up for an hour, eat like 3 saltine crackers if I could, take a sip of ginger ale, maybe skip that to get a quick shower in, and I'd go back to sleep. It is really weird to me how I just kind of went in my brain. I went to sleep and then woke up a month and a half later. It is very weird. Well, I come back, and apparently during that time they were reading Hamlet in the literature class I was in, and I remember going in and being like, "Hey, like, my teacher here, I've been out of school for 6 months, like roughly," and I explained like I was asleep. Literally asleep, and could not wake up to read Hamlet. And today is the final. What can I do? And he said, you can take the final. And I was like,
what a bitch.
What the fuck? I liked this teacher, by the way, up until that day. And I was like, you're a real piece of shit, you know that? Like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like, do you have a doctor's note? And I was like, I have 10. Because they gave me one every week. Like, and he was like, okay, well, did you read? You should have had enough time to read the book because we've been reading it in class. So you should have time to read the book on your own. I was like, are you not listening to me? You wanted me to wake up for the 1 hour and not eat, not shower, but read Hamlet? Like, what's wrong with you? And he says, okay, fine. You can take the final tomorrow. And it's like, that is almost worse. Well, that night, I stayed up and I was like Googling like what are the main plot points for Hamlet, and I saw one comment on a Reddit thread that was like, hey, so I just read Hamlet in school and I realized that it's the exact same plot as Dragon Age Origins, and right before I went into my coma, I beat Dragon Age Origins.
Nice.
So I went in and I got a B because because he let me have like a note card with like literally just a single index card with like notes on it. All I did was I wrote the Dragon Age characters' names equals the Hamlet's characters' names. And I wrote basically an essay on Dragon Age Origins, replacing the names, and I got a B.
What the fuck?
That's incredible.
And it's bullshit.
All right, Adrian, you're up. You're
Me?
up for story time. Whip us out with a book you read in high school.
A book I read in high school. So have you guys ever heard of Pet Sematary?
Yes.
Okay. Longest book I've read at that point. It's about 1,000 pages long.
Is it really?
What the fuck?
Dude, Pet Sematary is 1,000 pages long. And like the version that we had in school was a hardcover with very tiny letters.
You could like kill a man with that. 1,000 pages hardcover.
Yeah.
Just hand it to me slathered in penicillin.
Yeah. Anyways, I kept that book for over a week because, I mean, I was like in 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I was still going through puberty, I think, right? Was that?
Yeah.
It was when I was very interested in girls. Well, also, I was 13.
So like
I
yesterday?
Yeah.
No, he's only kind of interested in girls.
Yeah, no. He just went from straight to like slightly less straight.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
A skew.
Yeah, he's a skew now.
Yeah. I kept that book for over a month because it was the one and only book in that entire library that on multiple occasions said the word fuck. And every time I would go up to my friends, again, we were in 9th grade, I was 13. And I would tell them like, yo, you should check out this book. It says fuck.
I love to imagine a slightly smaller, can I guess slightly chubbier Adrian.
I was actually very skinny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So a slightly smaller, skinnier Adrian walking up with a fat-ass book and going like, yo, check this out. And it just says fuck. And everyone going like, bro, that's not cool. Like, don't tell my mom.
No, here's the thing. Everyone that I went up to were like, no, it doesn't.
I mentioned the other day that I have like an autocorrect in my head where my brain will just kind of see words that aren't there. And so oftentimes I will read just incorrectly what the sentence even says, not even remotely similar things. And that was like kind of a problem because sometimes like when I am reading in real life in my head, sometimes I just completely fucking trail off. Like I'm literally reading the page and I'm like 3 pages and I'm like, I don't remember anything I just read.
Yep, I do the same thing.
And by the time like you get to reading in class, I would always be like, oh fuck, okay, like really enunciate the word in your head because like you do not want to get through. So I'm already like really stressed out over getting all this. That's a very exciting story right now.
Sorry, I had a yawn come over me.
And so we're reading through and like I'm like, okay, pronounce that word in your head and then say it. So like I'm probably reading like at a much slower pace. And there have been times in school where I would sometimes read objectively worse so that they would skip over me faster. and I would just be like, I'm out of here, buddy. Like a handful. One time I was reading, this was in like 7th grade. I was reading the book. We're reading through the paragraph, and literally the teacher was like, "Jeremy, I'm gonna stop you right there," and just moved on. And you can't see it on the podcast, but this is exactly her reaction.
She just
Jeremy, you are killing me.
Did she say you were killing me?
Yes. I just leaned back in my chair with just full exasperation. Anyways, went to the next person. I thought, ideal. That's I don't have to read this anymore.
Oh my God.
Honestly, good on you. I
Yeah, no, I respect that.
Yeah.
All right, see you next episode.